in no context do we have to exist justifying the exploitation and abuse and murder of animals.
Sure.
It's just like with humans.
Sure.
So if that makes sense to you, you should be vegan. That's exactly why you should be vegan.
Yes, might be exactly why I should be vegan. Definitely not gonna though.
But here's the thing, if you are just accepting that essentially you're a hypocritical individual, and even though you could acknowledge that your logic is flawed, you're not going to change, then like I was saying, and I mean this in no insulting way, just matter-of-factly, then you must not be as intelligent or as good-hearted or as aware as you tout humans to be, or as you tout yourself to be, right? Because if you're saying, okay, yeah, I contradicted myself, yes, I'm against this in this scenario, but not in this scenario, even though there's no morally substantive difference, then what does that make you?
If you'd like to talk about something that is not a nonsense point, you were talking earlier about what your values would be,
Yeah.
And how it would be consistent
Yes.
with veganism and non-veganism. And my question would be at scale, and I'm talking about at scale, not a personal level.
Sure.
How does veganism not, if one life, and this is a total assumption that you believe that one life is equal to another life, no matter how small or large, how does veganism at a mass scale not destroy and or kill just as many, if not more, lives by having to create the amount of vegetation it takes?
You're talking about crop deaths. Yeah. So, first off, it's not vegan. Veganism is a moral philosophy. So it's not veganism, but crop production, home building, road building, driving cars. Pretty much the presence of humans on the planet requires death, requires killing in certain circumstances. Absolutely, right? But even though there is no way to eliminate all harmful impact or all death due to human presence, that in no way justifies the breeding and exploitation and abuse of animals by the trillions each year.
Oh, okay.
Right? So, like, for example, to build these roads, a lot of animals probably died, right? Insects, rodents, whatever, right? That, to me, is unfortunate, and I would want to do whatever we can to reduce those deaths, but I don't see that as like a justification
So your position
for
isn't
breeding.
to eliminate all death.
Correct. Veganism is advocating for the extension of essentially the rights we grant to humans to animals. I view animal rights as a logical extension of human rights, and we reject the exploitation of animals.
Gotcha. I would, once again, this is just completely my own opinion.
Yeah,
I think our differences come from the understanding what we consider to be an exploitation. I believe genuinely that animals are necessary for, at least my way of life. To kill them is, if you want to consider it an evil, you can consider it an evil, but to kill them for food is, to me, not morally wrong. But once again, that's just a point of ethics of my own.
Yeah, if I could ask you a couple. So when you say it's necessary, what do you mean when you say necessary?
It's necessary for me to live a life in a way where I don't have to go through extenuating circumstances, relying on technology and insane amount of infrastructure to be able to gather the most amount of, I would say, protein I need to properly exist.
Okay, but you're in downtown Plymouth, right? So you go to bars. I'm assuming you go to a grocery store. So if you go to bars, you go to grocery stores, you're not like in the middle of nowhere, right? So I shop at the same Market Basket, Stop and Shop, whatever, right? And you can be vegan purely from that one stop, right? From that one, you don't have to go anywhere crazy. It's not like I do all my shopping online or anything. So if you can go vegan just with the convenience of the grocery store down the street, then how would it be necessary for you to kill or exploit animals?
I would say that it's a matter of comfort to be able to obtain the amount of protein without any sort of strange additives and whatnot. I would have to gather it on my own and in a way that I would deem ethical.
But do you see how there's a difference between necessary and choosing to live a certain way, right? So like, I can choose, let's say that I was a cannibal, right, for example, and I said, in order to live the life I want to live, it's necessary for me to kill any humans, right? And then somebody asked, well, what do you mean by necessary? And I say the same thing. Well, a level of comfort, it's just my preferred way of living. But nutritionally, scientifically, there is actually no necessity for animal products, whether it's flesh, dairy, eggs, and convenience-wise or practically, there is no kind of excuse because we're in downtown Plymouth, right? So when you say necessary, I'm just going to have to, call you on that because it's absolutely not necessary. I've been vegan for over 7 years. The best peer-reviewed science we have supports fully plant-based diets and lifestyles aligned with the vegan philosophy. So what it sounds like you're saying, and correct me if I'm wrong, but what it sounds like you're saying is not that it's necessary, but I want to continue doing it because that's how I prefer to live.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
But in that case, so that's when we're going to test your consistency because that's where the values come in, right? Mm-hmm. Because if you, just like the other kids, if you say that you are against discrimination, against exploitation, against abuse, against killing or murder, which is premeditated.
I didn't say any of those.
No, I'm saying if. If you are for any of those actions, I would love to hear it. For humans, not against animals. For humans, are you for any of those actions for humans?
Depending on the situation, it's
innocent individuals.
Innocent individuals, no.
So you're against those actions for innocent individuals?
I would say I'm opposed to them.
Yeah, like you don't agree with them. You wouldn't commit them yourself. You don't want them to happen.
Yes.
Okay. So, just like with the other conversation, why are you against those actions for humans?
Because we are undoubtedly the most intelligent creatures on this earth.
Right, but why would that matter in terms of morality?
Because the most intelligent creatures on this earth are the ones that you get to use.
No, what I'm asking is, right, so somebody who's severely mentally challenged and who's a mute, right, isn't intelligent and cannot communicate, right? But that doesn't mean they shouldn't be considered morally, or do you think they shouldn't be considered? Do you think they should still be considered morally?
Well, first of all, morally, yes, but they're a culmination of their lessons that they have learned or been taught over the years, and also they share our DNA.
Okay, so now it just comes down to DNA?
I didn't say it only comes down to DNA, but that's a large point when you're talking about somebody who's mentally challenged.
Right, but my point is, right, because you said humans deserve moral consideration because of intelligence, right? But that's...
I said that humans deserve the consideration to the 2 points that you gave. Exploitation, discrimination, abuse, and killing, which I don't know how much of the conversation, so I apologize. Essentially, what those questions. You talked for a long time, so I completely understand that there are giant gaps. I'm
no problem.
Completely giving you that.
So what those questions are asking essentially is, do humans deserve moral consideration in the sense that should we care about how our actions impact others?
Yes.
Right? And if you say yes, I'm going to ask you why. And you say it's because humans are intelligent. Well, at the core, right, you don't want bad things to happen to you, or I guess we could categorize those things as bad because we have the same values. If you don't want bad things to happen to you, it's not because you're intelligent, right? That's not why you have a will to live. That's not why you don't want those things to happen to you. Even if you were dumb as bricks, you still wouldn't want that to happen to you, right? It's because you can feel, right? You have a will to live. You can feel the impact of those actions. And what veganism is saying is animals can also feel. They have that same characteristic in common.
I've never argued that they couldn't feel.
I know, I'm saying that's what veganism is advocating for, right? So if animals can feel and have a will to live and have sentience, very similar, if not just like humans, then why not extend your values of being against those actions to animals?
Oh, because that's fucking stupid. Yeah.
How is that stupid? Just calling it stupid doesn't make it stupid.
No, I agree. It's stupid on many grounds, probably.
How so?
Probably the first one would be, well, if an animal was smart enough not to get killed, it would have adapted to, which they have in many different ways, but not by
You're just naming intelligence.
Yeah.
So like a mentally challenged person isn't smart enough to run away from a killer. Does that mean they should be killed?
Well, first of all, I would say quite a bit of I would assume that a mentally challenged person would probably run away from danger.
I mean, maybe, but there's a lot of them who are mutes and who are very innocent, who literally barely know what's going on, but
Well,
they're
they
still
also
sentient.
share DNA, bringing back to that point. What was your original question? I kind of lost a little bit.
My question is, human animals and non-human animals share the capacity for sentience,
Yeah.
which is ultimately why we care about what happens to us.
Well, different level of sentience, but yeah.
Well,
I mean, I'm
definitely
not,
mammals and birds, but yeah.
Put it this way: I'm not for the or abdicating for the poor treatment of animals.
So what do you call breeding, enslaving, and then slitting their throat? Would you not say that's poor treatment?
I would say that's poor treatment.
So,
yeah.
but that's how you get the meat on your plate.
That's not how I get my meat.
You said you go to a grocery store and you were just at a bar.
Nobody ever said that I go to a grocery store to buy meat specifically.
So you don't get your food from the grocery store.
No.
So what do you get from the grocery store?
Many other things: seasonings, vegetables.
Okay, so where do you get your meat from, or animal flesh?
Well, from hunting, going to locally sourced farms.
Wait, but hold on. The locally sourced farm, all of that still applies. So hunting, we could still discuss why I would argue the same thing, but for locally sourced farms, they're still bred into existence, they're still enslaved, and they still have their throats slit. So locally sourced farm, even though it's local, it doesn't make it any better, right? It doesn't make it any less abusive.
Makes it a whole shit ton better.
How? When all those actions are still involved.
Yeah, well, yeah, but my problem isn't with those actions.
You just said you were against those actions.
No, I didn't say I was against those actions. I said I was against the poor treatment of animals.
And I asked, would you consider
Death
that
is a-
poor
death is
treatment?
a-
No. I asked, would you consider that poor treatment? You said yes.
I didn't say yes specifically to the killing of animals.
No. I said,
Poor
what would you call breeding, enslaving, and slitting the throat of animals poor treatment? And you said yes.
Then I will amend my statement. First of all, it completely depends on what you call the enslaving.
When
of
we force them to only benefit us, they get no benefit other than they are here for us, and we do whatever we want to them. Is that not slavery?
No, not when it comes to.
So in the human context, would it be slavery?
Yeah.
So then how is it not slavery in the animal context?
Well, it depends.
The action itself, forget about...
It depends entirely on their situation.
What do you mean?
Well, if I go out, I'm going into their environment to find them.
I'm not talking about hunting yet. I'm talking about the free-range farm you mentioned, or factory farming, or any type of animal agriculture.
Okay.
Would you not call that enslavement?
No.
Okay, so how is it not enslavement?
Because I don't attribute the term slavery to animals.
Okay, but you said in the human context, it would be slavery, correct?
Yes.
And humans are animals. These are different species of animals.
But we're much different.
No, sure, we're different, right? Just like how a dolphin is very different than a gorilla. Just like how an elephant is very different than a rodent, right? But they're all animals, they're just different species. So if you're saying it's, talking about the definition of the word, if you're saying it's slavery in the human context, and the action is identical, it's just a different species of animal, how is it not slavery in the other species of animal context?
It's not different in the other species of animal context specifically because we put a generalistic understanding of what morality applies to what animals because we're smart.
I'm just asking about slavery. Yeah, I'm just asking about slavery.
You're
So,
not
like,
just
how-
asking about slavery.
No, in this specific question you said in the human context, what we do, if we were to do to humans what we do to animals, it's slavery. But in the animal context, it's not. So what I'm asking is, how is it different? How is it not slavery in the animal
And
context?
my answer is just the same as before. It's the level of intelligence, the morality we
So what you're saying is
ascribe to
might equals right, essentially?
well,
So because we can do it, because we're at the top of the species, it's okay.
Well, in any other species, it's almost exactly the same way. Are you saying that we shouldn't operate just like any other animals if we are them?
No, because with lions, they also rape. They also eat their young, a lot of times in the runs.
Oh, yeah.
We have chosen to get away from that and actually made those actions illegal for humans, right? And the reason for that is because we recognize that those actions are very harmful, right? So similarly, when a lion runs out and eats a gazelle from the inside out, we recognize that that's very harmful and cruel, right? So we choose to slaughter animals behind closed doors where nobody can see it. Now, what we're advocating for is extending that and saying, okay, we don't rape like other animals. We don't shit outside like other animals. We don't do anything like other animals. Why would we continue to slaughter other animals?
I guess the question when it comes to that would be, do we not do those things, or have we made a conscious decision not to do
So what I mean is those actions may occur, but legally we have outlawed them, or we have
legally.
put restrictions. Yeah.
Legally.
So ideally, animals would be given legal rights,
So
right?
let me-
They would be
so-
given protection.
So let me ask you this question. If legally we haven't done those, we also legally put up barriers to dangerous areas. Why haven't any of these animals put up barriers to human interactions?
Well, again, you're just talking about intelligence again. So
Yeah.
just because they don't have the, what you're saying is because we are smarter, therefore it's justified. But imagine there was a, just if you just
Okay.
think about this hypothetical. Imagine,
Didn't say justified, but sure.
so it's what we do to animals isn't justified.
I don't think it applies that way. I think,
What do you mean? An action should have a justification, no?
well, it does have a justification as long as it's done correctly.
But what? So I'm at. So
The
okay.
justification is
So-
living.
But we don't need to do that to live. We don't need to breed animals into existence, slit their throats. You don't need to hunt to live. We have a grocery store with crops. We have food production.
Now you do.
Yeah, now. I'm
Now
just
you
talking
do.
about now.
Would
For-
you like to leave that entirely in that entire understanding, that
Yes.
entire history
for a more
and-
peaceful and nonviolent world? Yes, just like how we rely on modern medicine, right?
Oh.
Thousands of years ago, we didn't have antibiotics, but now we do. And it's great because we've saved thousands and thousands, if not millions of lives because of modern medicine. Right? So we could say, well, don't you want to go back to before you had all these pills and the modern medicine and the hospitals? No, because there
No,
would
the
be...
past was the worst. We can both agree the past was the
Okay,
worst.
so then
Yeah.
why would you pick and choose this one aspect of the past but not everything else, right? So if we can do it now, right, or if we don't need to exploit animals now, why would we go back to
Because you need
that?
to rely on a system and lose skills that are necessary if that system does not exist anymore.
Like what? Like you could learn how to farm, you could learn how to grow food.
Oh, now you can.
Sure.
Yeah, but if your infrastructure goes shit, what happens?
What do you mean?
If your infrastructure goes shit,
What do you mean by infrastructure?
if the infrastructure that you rely on to
So
be
it-
vegan goes shit,
So
what
if
happens?
8 billion people all of a sudden had no food security
Are
and
you
had
talking
to...
about the population of the entire world?
Yes.
Okay.
Because you're asking...
I'm sorry. What's happening?
I'm asking you. Because so you're saying if we no longer had grocery stores, if we no longer had food security, what would I do? What I'm asking, right? Because I'm assuming it's not just me in this town. It would be on a mass scale, correct? If things went to shit, things went to shit. No.
Is it on a mass scale now?
It's what on a mass scale? I'm asking. It's your
Yes,
hypothetical.
I'm talking about if our infrastructure went shit.
Yes.
Right? Is other people's infrastructure going shit now?
No.
No. So
I don't-
so explain to me what is happening.
No.
the
So
Middle East,
you said no. You said if my infrastructure went to shit.
Yes.
Okay.
And you attribute
But
it
I'm
to
a-
everybody in the world.
No. But so how? So okay. So what do you mean by my infrastructure then? Maybe that.
The
could-
infrastructure you rely on, like I said before, to be vegan. What
like
if it went
grocery stores and food security, correct?
Yes.
Okay, but is it just affecting me, or like how? Like what is the context?
It would affect
Everybody, correct?
not everybody in the world.
Okay, so in the United States, maybe.
Entirely possible. States, cities, sure.
So you're saying that Massachusetts doesn't have any food, but we can't get some from another state?
If you would like to use that as an example, sure.
Okay. Well, if the shit went, if Massachusetts, okay, as a hypothetical, Massachusetts had no ability to get any food, we couldn't get food from other states, other countries, whatever. The amount of animals that are in this area would not last us more than, I don't even know how many people. If everybody had to hunt and eat, those animals would be dead real quick, right?
Not if
So,
it's done right.
what do you mean not if it's done right?
Not if you do not exterminate the skills necessary to properly farm animals and hunt animals.
Wait, hold on. So we can farm animals, but we can't get food?
In that specific case, I would say for the production of protein necessary, sure. Yeah, that would be a
Okay,
much,
but how do you
a
think,
much better
what
way
do you
to
think
do it.
animals need to eat?
Plenty of other things that grow naturally.
No, but you're saying we can't grow food, right? In this context, we can't grow food other than animals?
I didn't say that.
So then why wouldn't we be able to eat food then?
What I was alluding to is the fact that if this continues as the way that you're saying, the skills that you're hoping will no longer be necessary based on
Okay.
our infrastructure.
So let's say...
Hold on.
Okay.
Will then not be taught and passed on.
So-
if then
ahead.
something happened where would those skills be?
So let me ask you a question. Let's say there was a time period where it was a peaceful world and war did not exist anymore, okay? We had the option to eliminate war. Would you advocate for people going out and practicing killing other humans just so we don't lose a skill?
So we're now on a hypothetical.
Correct. I'm asking you a different question.
Okay, yes. Would I advocate for that?
Right?
Maybe.
Really? So you would want innocent people to be killed?
No, I said, would I advocate for the hypothetical you just said, which there would be no more death? I said, maybe.
Not no more death. No, I said no wars.
No wars,
Yeah.
no necessity for it.
Yes.
Maybe. That's what I'm saying is maybe. I'm halfway agreeing with you, yes.
No, but when you say maybe, what do you mean by maybe? So the hypothetical, again, is just like in the animal context, right? We have no need to raise or hunt animals anymore, okay? But what you're saying is, well, what happens if we do one day? Where are those skills going to be? Okay, same thing in the war scenario. There's no necessity and there's no existence of war anymore.
You had the option to eliminate war
Yes,
completely.
yes,
forever.
in this hypothetical. Yes, absolutely.
All right, forever. Then my answer would be maybe it would be something to think about.
You would have to think about if it's moral to
I wouldn't.
to
No, that's
kill.
not the question. No, you can't ascribe different
That was the question.
verbiage to it.
Okay, let me really give you my question so that way you can answer it properly. So there's no war. It's a peaceful time.
Impossible for war to exist.
Correct.
Impossible.
Well,
Okay.
No, it's not impossible. It's very, very
Then
unlikely.
The answer's no. The impossible for infrastructure to fall, absolutely not. No. It would definitely need to be something, because if we're going to survive as a race, we are going to necessarily need to retain the skills necessary for us to survive.
Hold on.
And it
When you
isn't
say the
just
answer is
farming
no, what are you
vegetables.
saying the answer to no is?
What am I
You
saying?
didn't even get the question out. You said the answer is no. I didn't even get the question out.
Oh, well, I'm sorry I interrupted.
Yeah.
Continue.
So, it is a peaceful time. It is incredibly unlikely, like 99% chance that war does not exist, okay? Or war will not happen again. Would you think it is moral to have soldiers play pretend and practice killing humans on actual humans just in case we had to go back to a time where war existed?
And it's 99%?
Yes.
Then yes.
You would think it's immoral.
No. I would think it's moral.
Really?
Yep.
So it would be fine for humans.
To play pretend war to prepare for...
No. When I say play pretend, I'm saying killing actual humans, though. They're killing actual, just like with animals. You're not shooting.
Pretend war
No,
would
no.
be killing people.
I say play pretend as in there's no actual war, but they are killing innocent humans, just like in the animal context.
Absolutely. Well,
Because here's the thing: because you could hunt dummies, right? You could do target practice. I actually saw it online. They have deer projectiles, or not projectiles, but they have like the sliding deers that can mimic how a deer moves in the wild, right? So to say that the only way to retain these skills is actually killing animals, that's actually not true. There's target practice. There's other ways to retain those skills.
Yes, but you take somebody who is practicing to hunt, and you take somebody who is hunting, and I would tell you that there is a physiological difference there.
I mean, maybe, but the point is
What do you
now
mean,
when we don't.
maybe?
No. Well, somebody who has a lot of target practice, I'm sure would be decent at hunting. It's not like they're not
better
going to
than
know.
the average person.
Sure, but the
would
point is
there
they would
be a
retain the
physiological
skill.
difference? Sure,
Okay,
yeah.
but the point is they would retain the skill to shoot a bow, to shoot a gun, whatever, in the case of your survival doomsday scenario. But the point is we don't have that happening, right? And just like how in a doomsday scenario, I might kill you to survive, I'm not going to use that scenario as a justification to harm you or kill you now, right? So just like in the animal,
harm me or kill me now, sure, but you'd have to try.
that's not the point. The point is,
But I'm not saying me specifically. I'm saying everybody. You'd have
Sure.
to actually try. That would be stopped pretty quickly.
but that's my point is, forget
Yes.
about like legally.
Our difference, and I don't disagree with. First of all, I don't disagree with what you're doing. I think you're standing up for something that you believe in. Our difference is morally. I don't believe it's wrong. You do.
But your
because-
values have a lot of inconsistency, is what I'm saying. Because at one point you're saying it's intelligence, then you're saying it's DNA, then you're you're naming all these traits that fundamentally don't matter for moral consideration, right?
No,
Because a certain DNA doesn't determine your will to live. Sorry, that's not what I mean. What I mean is a certain DNA, you can have whatever DNA, whatever, right? But that doesn't mean you don't have a will to live. That doesn't mean you aren't sentient, right? That doesn't mean you can't feel the suffering or the pain or the actions that are inflicted on you. and animals have that. So ultimately, I haven't yet heard a justification for why that's okay in the animal context, but not in the human context. The only thing you keep saying is intelligence. What I was going to ask earlier is if there was a more intelligent species of animal, or an alien species, for example, who wanted to do to us what we do to animals.
Yes.
Would you be okay with that? Would you view that as moral?
I wouldn't have a choice.
Everybody answers that way, right?
Yeah.
But it's not. That's not what I'm asking. I'm not asking could you stop it. I'm asking would you want to? Would you view that as wrong? Would you view that as okay?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I asked to say.
Yeah.
You would view
wrong? No.
You wouldn't view that as wrong.
No.
Okay,
If
so
it's an alien species coming down, what
Yeah.
is the probability that they have the same moral compass as us? To me, sure, yeah, it might be wrong, but you're talking all-encompassing. when it
Right.
comes
No, I'm
to
saying they
every living
wanted
thing.
to enslave us and kill us just like animals.
To me, that would be wrong, yeah.
To you, that would be wrong, right? So why would you put animals in the position of us in the alien context, right? Because what you're saying is, I don't want that done to me, but I'm going to do it to other animals, right? Because I'm smarter, I'm faster, I'm stronger, whatever, right? But might does not equal right. You said it yourself in the alien context. So why do it to other animals?
Well, for many reasons.
And do you have any reason that actually has a weight? Besides I enjoy the taste, besides it's protein, besides it's... Because all of that can be rectified with plant-based agriculture.
Well, I mean, just because I stated them before doesn't mean that I have to have other points to try and prove it. There's nothing really to be proved. It's a difference in morality.
But what I'm asking is, you are doing you're saying that it is okay and it is not okay to do what we want to another individual because we can, because we're smarter, because we have.
I don't think okay is.
By okay, I mean moral.
Yeah. Sure, to us, yeah, it might not be moral for an alien civilization.
But that's a contradiction.
Okay, great. It's a contradiction.
Do you understand what that?
Yes, I understand what that means. But if it happens, it happens.
I know, but what I'm saying is when you're talking about values, so it's like, here's the thing: if you view yourself as a truth seeker, if you want to be the best person you can be, and you are here telling me your values and they are directly contradicting, right? You're essentially admitting that you are hypocritical to a certain extent.
Yes. I think human's existence is hypocritical in general.
How so?
Well, for many different ways. For one, the exact point where we're having this conversation would have to be at least a little bit crazy, a little bit shitty, and a little bit controversial, and definitely hypocritical for it to be 100% human.
What do you mean?
I mean that's a culmination of what the fuck we are.
But we don't have to be that. We don't have to be hypocritical.
We don't have to be a lot of things.
No, but that's what I'm advocating to not be
Yes.
hypocritical. So here's the thing.
Would you, for example, would you hope for a child an amazing life where they don't run into any strife, they don't run into any trouble at school, they don't run into scraped knees, they don't run into any pain? Would you wish that for a child?
Not any pain, because it depends on, there's a lot of different suffering, like there's suffering that leads to better outcomes.
So we can agree that there has to be a level of shittiness for humans to be human and not be a total piece of shit.
So not that there has to be a level of shittiness in terms of our actions.
Do you not
There
consider
is a
being
certain level.
shittiness?
No. In terms of our actions, there may be a level of shittiness to existing. I'll agree with you there. Yeah, like existing. One day it could be the most pain, the next day it could be the most bliss. But when it comes to how we should be treating other individuals, there doesn't have to be a level of shittiness. There might be a certain level of compromise in terms of competition of resources, in terms of the technology we have and what we can do, like I said, with building roads, building homes, crop agriculture, etc. But in no context do we have to exist justifying the exploitation and abuse and murder of animals.
Sure.
It's just like with humans.
Sure.
So if that makes sense to you, you should be vegan. That's exactly why you should be vegan.
Yes, might be exactly why I should be vegan. Definitely
That is.
not. Definitely not gonna though.
But here's the thing, that's fine if at the end of the day you're not going to change no matter what. I mean, not fine, but obviously that you have, while it's legal, you have that choice. But the thing is, if you're acknowledging, okay, I agree with you, what you're saying makes sense. I acknowledge that I contradicted myself, but I'm not going to change anyway. Then at the end of the day, you're not as smart as you say you are, right? You say that you're the smartest.
I will acknowledge that I contradicted myself too. I will also acknowledge that you contradicting yourself.
Can you name the contradiction?
Not necessarily.
'Cause I can name your contradiction.
Oh, okay. I couldn't name yours either. I was kind of disagreeing.
But I didn't contradict myself.
You just
My
said
values are in line. What? No. I said you contradicted yourself. I didn't contradict myself.
That was the second thing you said. You said, I'll admit I contradict myself.
No. If I said that, that's not, no, I did not contradict
Run
myself.
it back!
Yeah, no, I did not say that.
Oh, interesting. Sounded like you did. Weird.
So that my point is, right, if you are just accepting that essentially you're a hypocritical individual, and even though you could acknowledge that your logic is flawed, you're not going to change, then like I was saying, and I mean this in no insulting way, just matter-of-factly, then you must not be as intelligent or as good-hearted or as aware as you tout humans to be, or as you tout yourself to be, right? Because if you're saying, okay, yeah, I contradicted myself, yes, I'm against this in this scenario, but not in this scenario, even though there's no morally substantive difference, then what does that make you? Right? Imagine if a cannibal said that, right? Cannibals, they're like, all right, who cares? I contradicted myself. I'm going to eat humans. Okay, they're a piece of shit. So what does that make you?
Probably just as much a piece of shit as everybody else.
But you don't, no, but when you say everybody else, you're acting as if every person, whether you're a rapist, a murderer, a cannibal, is equal to everyone else. And that's, in terms of like...
Would you say that each individual, no matter their actions, is equal to everybody else?
So I was going to say, on a fundamental level, we're all equal, but our actions are not, right? Some people commit more harmful actions. Some people commit better actions or more benevolent actions, right? I don't believe in good and bad necessarily. I think there's a lot of factors.
In morality.
Correct. I believe morality. No. Well,
so what's the
I don't believe in
objective.
Yeah. I don't believe in objective morality, but I do believe it is.
Oh, so once again, we just come back to it's a difference in morality.
But you can still test your logic, right? So like you can say, oh, I have a difference in opinion. Okay, but when you contradict yourself, your opinion is flawed. That's the point, right? But what I was going to say is, I believe in subjective morality. But I believe morality is incredibly useful. It's something we've developed to weigh how we should be treating others, right? Whether something is justified, whether something is moral, or whether something ought to be done, right? So just like how there were moral conversations around slavery, there were human slavery, I mean, there are moral conversations about whether women should vote. There are now moral conversations about the treatment and exploitation of animals. And again, if you want to be the person that's like, oh, I'm a piece of shit, or, oh, yeah, I beat women, but who cares? You know, I admit it's a contradiction, whatever. Like, if you want to be part of that group, I understand, you know, they're all different injustices, but the logic is the same. So I encourage you to really reflect. Like, you don't have to be that, you know what I mean? Like, I don't see a reason why you would just accept that.
Well, fair enough. If you don't see a reason why I should accept it, that's
but I mean, I appreciate the conversation. I do appreciate you having my back earlier, and you seem like an honest guy. You answered everything pretty honestly, so I appreciate it. But yeah, do you mind sharing your name?
My name is Joel.
Joel. Brandon. Nice talking to you, man.
It's a pleasure.
Awesome.
I appreciate the fact that you're out here talking to people. It's a hard thing to do. I'm sure you talk to a lot of absolutely hammered people. I'm freezing cold.
Yeah, I could tell. So yeah, you could.
I'm at a point of shivering.
Yeah, but
it was nice to meet you. Thank you for talking. I mean, it's important to share differences in how we think and you know what we consider to be correct and not correct. I don't think I'm going to change your mind just as much as you don't. You know, I don't think.
Well, you could have changed your mind if you got me in a contradiction or you gave me a reason that put a wrench in my argument. You could have. Like I said, the reason how I got to veganism is my mind was changed. Right? So I wasn't born vegan. I turned vegan when I was 18, and that was after a year of doing nutritional science research and listening to the argument of veganism, right? I thought of all these similar excuses. Well, it's not a big deal. Well, it's not me doing it. Well, I'm a human, whatever. Oh, we might need chicken for protein because I used to powerlift. But I got to veganism because I changed my mind. So you could have changed my mind.
There's a lot of things that you could have changed your mind about. To pick veganism seems like a very less tasty version.
What do you mean pick I didn't pick veganism. Like I said, my logic led me there. And there's no real I'm also against any other injustice.
Of logical fallacies for sure.
They don't have to be.
Well, they don't have to be, but you know, world's not the way you see it. It's gonna happen.
No, but you seem to be self-aware. So if you're aware that you're contradicting yourself, you're aware that you're hypocritical, you can change that, right?
I sure could.
So then what? So then...
Because I don't believe it's wrong.
No, but you just acknowledge you're hypocritical, so yes you must believe it.
So
based on your own logic, it's wrong. I mean, whether you believe it or not, or whether you acknowledge that it is or not, based on what you just shared with me...
Well, I shouldn't say wrong. I should say I don't believe it's wrong.
It's immoral, you said?
I said I don't believe it's immoral.
But based on your own values, it is. That's what what a contradiction entails. Is what you're saying is, okay, it is, and it is not the case that my value is this, essentially, right? And that's a contradiction. So essentially, you're speaking gibberish.
Well, we both have to do the same thing if we're going to be living either way. We both have to accept, like you said earlier, a level of death, and my level of death I do not consider to be immoral.
But that's not death, that's intentional murder and exploitation.
You're intentionally murdering and exploiting the land to grow what you need to be vegan.
No, I mean, I'm intending to grow crops. Yeah, animals do die incidentally, and by incident.
So there's death involved. There has to
But
be.
I already explained the difference.
Sure, but that's where it's going to pretty much stick and end for me. If they both require death and I can do one in a way that I believe is ethical and it is fine,
But you don't believe it's ethical because you just said in the alien context to us it wouldn't be ethical.
No matter if I believe it's ethical or you believe it's ethical, they both require the same, so we're both stuck in that fallacy.
They don't require the same. So something requiring death is not the same as exploitation. No. But there is breeding, abuse, exploitation, and enslavement.
I already told you that on a scale at which I survive off of is mitigated.
No, but you still contribute to it. What do you mean mitigated?
Well,
Everybody needs the same amount of calories, more or less.
Calories is not the end-all be-all of nutrition. You should know that as a nutritionist.
To maintain your weight, though. I'm saying on like a impact scale. I would say that
monocrop agriculture to grow what you need to be vegan on a large scale is going to
be
quite a continuous amount of more death.
But just like well, definitely not more. So in animal agriculture, we breed.
How do you measure that?
So we have a measurement. So including fish, it's trillions of animals each year. Trillions. Okay, I don't know if you can fathom that number. I can't. So trillions. The best number I saw last time, including like insects, I think. So like rodents, insects. I think it's around between like 5 and 10 billion.
Actually, it's interesting that you say that. Billions and trillions. It's actually something I can fathom. I have one last thing before I head out. Who owns the most farmland in the United States?
I don't know. I don't know if you know. I mean, I'm assuming animal agricultural organizations because most of the farmland is there for specifically beef, but animal agriculture.
It's Bill Gates.
Okay.
It's Bill Gates. So, as a necessity to do what you hope the entire world, if not the United States...
No, just you. I'm just focusing on you.
Oh.
Because how do you think we get there? Right? How do you think any social justice movement progressed? With individuals?
I don't think about how we get there because I don't want to.
No, because you literally are essentially saying, I don't care if I'm a piece of shit, whatever. And that's fine. It's just,
to an extent, we all have to accept we're a piece of shit.
No, but you don't. Like, to an extent, we have to acknowledge that our presence impacts others negatively.
I do accept it, but I don't.
No, I'm saying you don't have to accept it. Yeah, you do accept it. You don't have to. Gotcha. You can change, even if it's incremental, right? Why wouldn't you want to make...
So does this veganism also extend to just danger in general or inhabitation?
So veganism is the rejection of the exploitation of animals. So we reject the exploitation, which is treating other individuals as products.
So based off of what I heard before, you would say that uprooting a family of human beings from their home and chopping them into a couple hundred different pieces would be exploitation or killing, which is not vegan.
So if they were trait equalized, and what I mean by trait equalized is... Trait equalized? What I mean by trait equalized is we could not reason with them, right? Just like with these animals.
So intelligence again. So it's the same argument, just backwards?
Nope. So if you let me finish. So in the case of crop agriculture, same thing with, homes and roads are a little different, but in the case of crop agriculture, most of the killing is done with pesticides and done to protect the actual crops. It's not actually done while we're growing the crops or making the fields. It's mostly done to protect the crops. So in the case where there were humans who could not be reasoned with and were attacking our food supply over and over again to the point of starvation, yes, I would be totally fine with killing those humans to protect the food supply for the majority of humans who could reason.
You'd be fine with killing those animals if they were attacking the food supply?
Yes.
Okay, so we agree on that.
Yes, but that's not what you're doing when you go hunting or when you pay for the exploitation and breeding of animals.
Then that's where we disagree.
But when you say you disagree, again, when you contradict yourself, you're essentially saying that your values aren't really your values.
Oh, you're saying, well, besides the point. Okay. How about we end it here? We
Sure.
both have to accept the exploitation and killing of
Don't have
animals.
to accept the exploitation. That's
Okay.
not exploitation.
Okay, fine. Whatever we
We all
decide,
have to-
whatever we decide is exploitation. We
No,
both
there's a
have to-
definition.
Okay, we both have to agree, right, that there is depth.
Can you
of-
define what you think exploitation is?
in what regard?
In any regard, just the definition of exploitation.
I'd have to look it up. I don't want to mistake.
I've looked it up. So again, it's using another group or individual strictly for your own benefit, right? As products, as resources, right? So when we're growing crops,
if you need that land, but something's on it, it's not
someone.
any sort of exploitation to move the living things that are on
no,
it.
because they're not the products, right? We are growing
Would
crops.
you consider the land to be living?
Not sentient. So that's why we're okay with crops, because crops has no brain, no nervous system. They're not sentient.
What do you think about the research into the idea of the fact that plants can feel, talk,
So they can't feel. There is intelligence. So plants, just like a computer, they communicate intelligently, but that's not the same as having an individual inside of you, like having a consciousness.
How do you know that?
What do you mean? How do I know that's not the same, or how do I know that plants don't have consciousness?
How do you know plants don't have consciousness?
So two reasons. Number one, we have scientific consensus. So actually recently, as of 4/19, there was a New York Declaration of Consciousness where mammals and birds are almost indefinitely conscious. Some rodents and insects are more speculated.
A conscious decision we made to decide what was conscious.
No. So New York Declaration of Consciousness has, I think, like 30 or 40 of the best researchers in the country.
No, but they all had to make a decision.
Yeah, it's a scientific consensus. Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
And then the other reason is, as best as we know, consciousness originates in the brain and or central nervous system. A carrot has no brain or central nervous system. All the animals you kill or pay to be killed do. They all have very complex.
So far as we know.
Sure. If something else comes out that
what happens if one day it is decided by scientific consensus that plants are able to feel and protest? Would you say that plants ever protest?
So when you say protest, they have defense mechanisms for certain organisms, but that's just survival. Again, like there's a difference between intelligence.
So would you say that it's theoretical? We don't know for sure, but it's possible?
99% not possible. There's 1% that there's some kind of mechanism happening at place that we have in research, but as far as we know, 99%, almost I would say 99% certainty, it's not possible. Just because there's no brain, no nervous system. If something comes out where they are sentient, then we will talk. Then we're going to have to come up with a new system or take the lesser of the two evils, I guess, at that point. But we have an alternative where there is no exploitation or killing involved because plants aren't sentient. So we actually have a solution.
Gotcha.
But what is your name again? Sorry. Joel. Awesome. Thanks for talking. I'll let you get warm, but I appreciate it.